Woodward Sports content, head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. As always, Adham, Beydoun, Jeff, Iafrate, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Can't wait for the show today. It's going to be great. Jeff, good morning, buddy. I know you were at the Pistons game last night, so you can start the show, really. What the fuck was that?
Yeah. Well, how it ended... I want to talk about the beginning because I do want to get into the positive stuff before we get into completely negative stuff. The positive was the Pistons to start, especially Killian Hayes and Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart. You had a lot of young players play well. They started the game well. They scored 36 in the first quarter. They had a good half. Obviously, defensively, they did not, but what's new? The biggest thing is they were competing in the first half, even down the stretch. I mean, in the third quarter, I believe the Clippers, they had a double-digit lead. The Pistons clawed out of it. They had the momentum. They actually had a good showing out in LCA. There's a lot of people there, to my surprise, for one of the worst teams in the NBA. It was packed. The Pistons shot 50% from three. Everything looked great. But then you got down the stretch. And I want to read a stat because I was completely appalled when I read this stat. ESPN put this out yesterday. And now, mind you, I'll give you some context. 3 minutes left. The Pistons were up 126 to 112. 3 minutes left. All right. Entering yesterday's game, teams were 2 in 12,873 when trailing by 14 plus points with 3 minutes left remaining since 1997. Entering this game,
teams were
2 in 12,873. When trailing by 14 plus points with 3 minutes left since 1997. Now it's 3 in 12,800. Okay, it was a disaster, and I think the easy thing to do would be to say, well, they're young players and they didn't know how to close the game. No, that was a disaster. They had that, and Isaiah Stewart had his press conference after the game, and he, of course, as the leader he is, said this is not on coaching, this is on the players. We have to find a way to close that game.
That's how you know you're fucked.
And that's how you know it, in my opinion, that's how you know. And Isaiah Stewart, he's a smart guy. He knows. He understands the pressure that's not even on their team, but on Dwayne Casey. And how that game ended, wow. I have no words. I left with about 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I thought the Pistons were going to win the game. I left. I said, all right, let's get out of here.
That's
beat
the story
traffic.
I've been waiting for.
And in my car, check the score. On the way home, check ESPN. I was appalled. I'm like, how in the hell? Not only did we go to OT, but we lost the game. And by the way, the Clippers checked out of the game. They put in all their bench players.
That is true.
And they put in Paul George with 30 seconds left.
And he missed his shot.
And he missed it. I mean, I have no words. I really don't. You know me, all season I've been pretty composed.
Oh my
That was
God.
disgusting. That was, you cannot lose games like that. You can't, dude.
We're pouring the cement, Jeff. That's what I was told.
Screw the cement. All right, to lose like that, the Clippers, Tyronn Lue. Listen, guys, we're packing it up. It's a loss. We're done. Bringing the bench players. The bench players got them out of the hole, and then Paul George gets put in with 30 seconds left to go to OT, and the rest is history. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. You want me to talk about the players? The players played well. I could talk about Ivy. I could talk about Isaiah Stewart, Duren, Killian Hayes. What does that matter?
Jalen Duren's a nice player. I know that.
They lost. They gave up in OT in totality of the game, 142 points. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Offensively, they played great, but what in the hell does that matter? That stat put me over the edge. I read that last night. 2 in 12,000 when trailing by 14 plus points since 1997. They just made history.
Are you sure that stat is correct? 2 in 12,000?
Yes.
There have been over 12,000 games where teams have had a 14-point lead with 3 minutes left.
Yes, and they've won.
82 games. Oh, you know what? Put that into context. Yeah, actually.
It's feasible.
It's like a, 10% rate?
You know what I call that? Lions-esque.
That same old, if Pistons had a slogan, you could use it there. All right, but luckily the Pistons have had success.
They actually,
they don't have a slogan. But that was bad, man. I mean, God. The fact that I left thinking they were going to win.
Silver lining, Killian Hayes had arguably, I think, his best game. His most complete game.
Oh, he balled in the first quarter.
Jalen Duren, phenomenal as usual. He needs to be the starter. And I know he's been excellent. Yeah. He's an offensive rebounding machine. The guy is... I'm liking this two-big lineup. And if you want to identify Stewart as a big, I think you have to at this point.
I do like those two starting in the front court.
Those two on the court at the same time, good things happen. The problem is, what does that look like when Cade gets back? Who's sitting, right?
Well, it's going to be Killian. I mean, if he's...
Well, Killian's a really good ball handler, but so is Cade, and so is Ivy.
Right.
And then having Bogdanovich out there is a plus. So, I'm not going to have to worry about that till next season, but I thought the rookies played pretty well. Duren and Ivy, as always. Ivy's got to figure out how to be more effective attacking the basket. A lot of reckless shots when he's attacking the rim. But when he's on, man.
Yeah.
Tough guy to guard.
And that was kind of the story last night. I mean, Killian Hayes, he was balling in the first quarter. I think he had like 13 points. He finished with 18, so I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. He had 13 in the first quarter.
He was a distributor for most of the game.
Yes, and he had 10 assists. He played well. And Isaiah Stewart, by the way, I got to keep giving him credit for his three-point shooting. He's 3 or 4 last night. He's shooting better this season than I ever would have expected. So there's a lot of things to take away from young players playing well, which is great. But at the end of the day, you got to win some games here. You got to find a way to close games. And Sam Flannel, did you get a chance to even check the scoreboard or tune in and see that disgusting ending?
Oh, absolutely. There are a lot of silver linings in this game, as you guys mentioned, but blowing a 14-point lead with 3.5 minutes left, there is no silver lining to that. No. I understand that, even though they lost that game, I still think when I go to bed at night, I dream about Victor Wembanyama, and a loss like that will help their chances. But at the same time, my God, I understand it's kind of a lost season. When Cade Cunningham, it's basically a lost season for Cade Cunningham, and that means a lost season for the Detroit Pistons because he's their best up-and-coming player, and they're so young. But that is a game you got to close out. The Clippers were giving up, and the backups just got them right back in the game. The Pistons would have been better off just dribbling out the shot clock for 24 seconds and giving it right back than whatever the hell that was.
Yes.
So it's kind of like how the Lions lost in their last game. It wasn't that they lost, it was how they lost. The only thing that the Pistons could possibly do to really piss me off was to blow a lead like 14 points in 3.5 minutes.
Are you mad, though? Really?
Yes.
You're 8-28. You are in pole position right now to get the number 1 overall pick, depending on how the lottery goes. But your odds are really good. Are you really mad? Killian Hayes played well. Jaden Ivey played okay. Offensively, a bit of a struggle. Jalen Duren, another really damn good performance.
Right.
Sadiq Bey even gave you some good minutes.
He did.
Right.
He had some big shots.
You got some good. Now there was a lot of bad.
Yes.
But the silver lining is you have the worst record in the NBA. You're 8-28.
Can I tell you why this frustrates me? Because last night, Dwayne made some changes. He went with a 9-man rotation. You didn't see your boy out there. No Corey Joseph. Didn't play a single minute last night. They had Hamidou Diallo. Everything looked smooth. They come back, like Chuck said in the chat. I think they were down 15 points. They come back 15 in the third quarter. Everything was great. Paul George, I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't believe these words would ever come out of my mouth. Paul George was guarding Killian Hayes. They threw Paul George on Killian Hayes. Think about that for a second. How far he's come in his career. Now, LA throws their best defender at him. That was impressive to see that. But how it ended, I don't know. That was hard to digest because I get they're one of the worst teams in the NBA. You know what the big picture is. Clearly, Cade's out. They're trending towards another top 3 pick. But how that ended, to Sam's point, LA threw up their white flag. They were done. They surrendered. They called it quits. And then their bench came in and said, nope, we got this, coach. We got them. This team can't defend. They can't stop a nosebleed. We got this. Down 14 points with 3 minutes left. They go to OT and they drop a fat 3 points in OT.
God.
And the rest is history. So
why didn't Ivy play in OT? Anybody?
I didn't see the context. I obviously wasn't there.
I couldn't tell.
Why does Alec Burks continue to fuck me? Why?
That's a question you got to ask yourself, buddy.
Why? Now, for those of you that don't know, only Jeff really knows my ticket slip. I had a 10-leg parlay going last night. I put $100 on it.
Man.
7 of them hit in the Nets-Cavaliers game, all 7. All of them were Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. First touchdown scorer of the Chargers game, Austin Eckler, hit. Jaden Ivey to score 15 points, also hit. And, of course, Dwayne Casey sits Ivy for all of overtime. And you know what he needed, Jeff? He needed 1 rebound.
Okay.
And I would have walked away with 7 Gs.
And you know what? I don't know.
And he benches him again, just like he benched him the entire fourth quarter when I needed the fucking kid to get 1 point.
You know, I defend Dwayne Casey. Not all the time, but I do try to play devil's advocate. I want to say the reason, and I'm not 100% certain, would have to watch the press conferences and listen to Dwayne's explanation. Maybe he wanted, after blowing a 14-point lead with 3 minutes left, he decided, you know what, we're going to put our some veterans in there and hopefully try and close this thing in OT. And Burks obviously didn't play well in OT, but that would have to be the reasoning. Let's put some experienced players in here. We got to close this game. I mean, it's the flip side, right? You play your young players, you lose. Well, they lost the game. He tries to play veteran players, you lose. Why didn't you play the younger players? It's this push and pull between player development and trying to win games, but it doesn't work out when you play Alec Burks and you lose anyway. So it's not a good situation. So,
God,
again,
this team is so fun.
Yeah, it's
they have nothing. They're actually really bad. They're actually really bad, and they have no system. They have no offense. They have no foundation. We talk about pouring the cement. That is hilarious to me. There is no cement. It's just a bunch of young guys that are losing minutes to a bunch of old guys at the moment. And they just go out there and they try to jack up as many shots as they can, get everybody involved. They don't play a lick of defense. Even on offense, they have no identity. That's the 13 minutes I'm giving to the Pistons. We're moving on. When we get back, Dan Campbell believes the best is yet to come. How close are the Lions? Nathaniel Hackett fired. What does that mean for Ben Johnson and his potential head coaching search? But I'll tell you why last night had more implications on Ben Johnson's future than the Denver Broncos firing Nathaniel Hackett. We'll get to the playoff picture, of course, what the Lions need to do. Top of the hour, Dan Campbell wants to get Jameson Williams more involved. We'll get to that later on. The Lions are now picking 7th. What does that mean for draft strategy? Are you now willing to trade up, back? What is the move? We used to talk about maybe a quarterback at 4. Would you take it? We'll get to the draft at 9:15. Tua, I want to talk about Tua. You guys remember Javid Best?
Yes.
I am really concerned for this kid. And I usually don't take time out of my day, let alone this show with Jeff, to talk about another player from another team that is totally unrelated. But I think this is a huge problem for the NFL. So I want to go around the room for that. And then at 9:40, something happened last night. Somebody, some team, some coach, some player accomplished something for the first time in their careers, both of them respectively. We'll get to that towards the end of the show, but before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Cintron.
Well, let me tell you about our friends at Cintron, because it is the official energy drink of the Red Wings. Cintron has combined all 3 of their delicious flavors into a limited edition 6-pack sampler box. You can try their great tasting cranberry, sugar-free, or the classic. You can pre-order your Cintron 6-pack sampler box today at cintronworld.com/Red Wings. Get energized with Cintron.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the downtown Detroit markets, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway, all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
At Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, Alta Rent has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com as always. Dan Campbell, to paraphrase him, basically said yesterday that the best is yet to come from this team. And it's not what you do when you're up, it's what you do when you're down. You kind of alluded to this yesterday, actually, before you even spoke in the morning. You said, all right, we're not going to do the same old Lions stuff, which I'm glad we didn't, because I think that's stupid. But you pointed out, Jeff, which I thought you nailed this. How do you respond to that loss? Because I think we all agree that was disappointing, that was frustrating, that was a pathetic loss, embarrassing performance. You can label it however you want. But how you recover at home as 5-point favorites against Chicago, I think is more important than even that game. Now, let's be real here. I can literally do this all year from week 1 to week 17, week 18. I can tell you this week, this game is the most important. That's just how it is in the NFL. Every week matters more and more and more and more and more. And yes, you now have to win out. We'll get to the playoffs a little later. But, Stick, I knew you and Ryan talked about this yesterday. I know Jeff and I have been alluding to this for quite some time. 1-6, 6-1. They're probably somewhere in between.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you saw that they're capable of stringing along, consecutive wins. How close are they? This is the question really this morning. How close are they to being one of those better teams at 6-1 than they are to one of the teams at 1-6?
I'm kind of with Jeff on this. Like, this next game's going to tell me more than this last game did. Because if they can't rebound, if they can't bounce back from what just happened to them and they double down with a loss to the Bears, then we're concerned, right?
Yeah, and Sean Payton always says this too, and I talked about this after they won against the Jets. The best time to coach is when you win, but it's an ugly win, because then you have an all week to critique it. I wonder how Dan's going to approach it, and this is good for him as well, because there's been plenty of these types of losses. What does this week of practice look like? Especially how they got manhandled on Saturday. That's a big thing to watch too. That's the only thing I'm looking forward to. Is not calling this team SOL. It's how do you respond this week against a team that you beat on the road only a couple weeks ago, and now you're welcoming them into your home. They're missing multiple receivers. They still don't have Mooney. The Claypool's questionable. And Justin Fields is Justin Fields. I mean, he's can do damage with his legs, but at the same time, who is he throwing to?
The best comment I saw yesterday in the woodwardsports.com chat during Armani Edwards with Maz, it was every time the Lions have lost a game the last 2 times, they've gone on 3-game winning streaks. That's how they've this year.
Yeah, that's
huge. How they've responded to losses.
See, that's huge.
And and if they go on another 3-game winning streak, guess what? That means they're in a playoff game.
And I do agree with Stick with what you said yesterday with Ryan about how I do think, although they'll never admit this, there was, and I don't know if cocky is the right word,
complacency.
But yes, I do think there was. And again, Calvin Shepard mentioned, and I think you nailed it. The fact that he came out with that quote
right.
has to mean that there's some sort of aura in that building of these guys, looking past Carolina, looking at, and again, it's not that they completely.
Don't address a problem that isn't there.
He was led there with that question, though, right? No,
perhaps
that to me was more.
He put a lot of juice on it. I mean, he was passionate about it. Man.
Because I think that's how you answer that properly, right? Somebody walks up to me, I'm at the podium, and they say, "Hey, how do you fight against complacency now that you've won, let's say, 5 in a row, hypothetically?" Right. You sit up there and say, well, nothing's given in this league. Everything is earned. Yada, yada, yada. Relatively what Calvin Shepard said.
No, he went
I understand, especially in that building. I get it. But
yeah,
it blows my mind that you're not ready for the most important game in your franchise's history since 2016. That's what irks me, but I think you and Stick are on 100% here.
And that's
how do you respond against Chicago?
Yeah.
Well,
how do you come out? How do you play? That means everything.
And that's
now.
another thing we brought up yesterday too. Is these guys haven't played from ahead before, right? They've never been the favorites. It's easy to be the underdog going into every game. Oh yeah, they don't respect us.
Right.
How do you get up when you're supposed to win? And this is the first game in a long time they were supposed to win. Mm-hmm. And this is just part of the growing curve, part of the roller coaster that we're all on right now with the Detroit Lions.
And these players too, Stick, like not besides I guess Decker or Ragnow, they weren't playing those meaningful games in 2017. So it's a completely new group. We can say, well, it's been years since they played meaningful games. These guys don't know that. I mean, most of the roster, they're the third youngest roster in the NFL. So maybe they needed that. I think that's kind of where I'm heading. And Sam Flynn, I want your thoughts on it too. How big of a game is this week against Chicago? Because I do think it's now, obviously they have to win out, but I'm talking just for these players and what it means. I think it's uber important.
I mean, it means everything. Speaking of games that the Lions are supposed to win, they absolutely are supposed to win at home against a Chicago Bears team that's 3-12 on an 8-game losing streak. And in those 8 games, the Bears defense has allowed at least 25 points in all of those games and at least 30 points in 5 of those games. They're tanking. They got rid of their 2 best defensive players, Roquan Smith and Robert Quinn, midway through the season. They're pretty much Justin Fields and nobody else. And Justin Fields, while being a great running quarterback, he will throw a few up for grabs. He will give guys like Kirby Joseph, Okudah, Jerry Jacobs a chance to pick a few off. So the Lions absolutely have to win this game, and I don't even think they just have to win. I know it's all about winning and losing, but I would like to see them come out ready to play, leave no doubt in that game, get off to a fast start, make it so that there aren't a lot of nervous people in Ford Field. I don't want there to be any sort of rumblings of SOL. And it's like we've talked about all week. That loss to Carolina was embarrassing, inexcusable, but they still have everything they want right in front of them. So that will tell me even more about how they respond. It's not just that they lost, but they can still respond and make the playoffs. It's not like their season is over. And this is where Dan Campbell and the coaching staff and the players really need to step up and just be ready for this game and be ready to pummel these pathetic Chicago Bears.
Yeah, no, I want a result like Jacksonville. I want a complete beatdown from quarter 1 to quarter 4. Like that's, and again, maybe it's a good thing too, because the Lions, you lose like that to that Carolina team who likes to play in a similar fashion as you, dominating the line of scrimmage, physical football. They want to run the football. If you get dominated by those guys, and then you go up against Chicago next week, who can't protect Justin Fields to save his life, and defensively they got rid of their better pieces on their defensive line, I think it's a better matchup for them. We'll see how they respond.
I mean, if the Lions somehow, and I don't even want to think about it, lose this game at home to the 3-12 Chicago Bears who have nothing to play for, then I wouldn't even be mad if people brought up SOL, because that is a very SOL thing to do. I don't think they'll lose, but that just shows how important this is. They're favored. They got to win this game.
Yeah.
They have to win the game, but more importantly, they have to, again, how do you inspire confidence? You can't do it just by playing well. You need to win games, right? They started doing that. They've already achieved the over from Vegas that they set before the year. So technically, they're slightly ahead of schedule. They are. But God damn it, some of these performances, you just scratch your head and say, that can't happen.
Right.
Where next season, I've kept it real with you guys. Next year, they should compete for the division.
Absolutely.
There's no doubts.
Absolutely.
I don't believe by next season, by the start of next year, Minnesota will be that much better than you. And let's also be real about something. Minnesota next year will not be 10-0 in one-possession games. That is impossible. They will be 6-4 next year. They will be at best 7-3 if they're lucky in one-possession games, if they play that many. It is so hard to win one-possession games. Hell, it's so hard to win in the NFL, let alone one-possession games where you are 10-0. That is ridiculous to me. Having said that, you can't afford a loss to Carolina. You can't afford a 1-6 start. You can't afford these things when next year The expectation is going to be, hey guys, you better be within a game and a half at worst, start of December in that division.
Yeah.
That's the expectation next year. If you win it, hell yeah. Good job. You're ahead of, I wouldn't say ahead of schedule. You are right on schedule with where you should be 3 years into a rebuild. Mm-hmm. Great job. Great stuff. And if you come up a game short or a half game short or you lose out on tiebreaker, I don't think anybody's mad because you're likely a wild card team. And you know for year 4, you're likely going to contend/win the division. Fair? So that's what's in front of you. Now, was Carolina disappointing? Yeah, it was. Big time. Big time. Super disappointing. Drives me nuts. But, what's the key stat here for the remaining 2 games? Wins. You win both of these games. And let's say you play spoiler and you prevent Aaron Rodgers from going to the playoffs, even if you don't. Even if Washington and the Giants and all these guys secure their spots, no problem. If you can win out these 2 games, which, to be honest with you, right now, I'm not sure where my confidence level is in them doing that, but that's beyond the point. If you can go out and win these 2 games, the sky's the limit moving forward. I mean, when's the last time you went into an off season? All of you. Where you were confident, like, oh yeah, next year? Wait till you see the product we put out on the field.
Right. Next
year is our year. When's the last time you guys had that? What? The first season after Jim Caldwell's first season, right? That off season after they went 11-5? They lost that playoff game to the Cowboys?
Yeah.
That was the last time maybe you went into an off season, you were like, we got a squad, boys. Yep. Division coming up.
Never.
You finish 8-9, I still think that's very good.
Yeah.
Considering where you started, it's very good. Now, going into next year, can you avoid the 1-6 start? Can you actually contend, win the division? I think you should be able to. There's no excuses. 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, salary cap. I say the same shit. It's all in front of you. But if you can win even one of the next 2, I think just having 8 wins alone, you forget the frustrations, you forget some of the coaching decisions, you forget some of the mistakes, some of the bad losses, you even forget a lot of the good wins. And you look back and you say, Dan Campbell went from 3 wins to 8 wins. Where is year 3? And what does that look like? And you hope it's 11.
Yeah.
That should be the expectation.
And you don't hope you start 2-5 or, dare I say 1-4.
And dare I say, if you start 2-5, 2-6, and then you make another run, and you miss out on the division by a game or 2.
Okay, yeah.
You're going to be concerned a little bit. But that's for next year. That's just a little prelude into what's coming up for the rest of the show. Nathaniel Hackett.
The positive part of it, too, and what Terry always says, is when the Lions did this in the past, they did it with much older players. Now you have a future with these young guys.
They're very young.
And they're getting better.
Nathaniel Hackett fired as the Denver Broncos head coach yesterday.
He gone.
Finally. Man had it coming all season.
You're serious?
Yes, I hated Nathaniel Hackett.
I was not expecting that response.
I'm done watching the Broncos.
Savage-ass
The
Jeff.
fact that these bitches got primetime games.
We got to go to break and let's talk about this after.
All right, we'll come
I
back.
did not expect this
We're
from
done.
Jeff.
I thought we were going to have a
Good
pleasant
riddance.
conversation.
Wow.
Good riddance, Nathaniel Hackett.
I don't know.
Stray bullets this morning.
Since you're just taking shots at everybody, how about you tell everybody about Gardner Alarm?
Yeah, he
Holy
needs
hell.
it.
I'll tell you about a defense that's more consistent than Denver, and it's Guardian Alarm. Because right now is the perfect time to make sure you have peace of mind in home security from Guardian Alarm, the most trusted name in home and business security. With 24/7 monitoring, you can have a peace of mind knowing you have and are being backed by the best. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Tell them your friends at Woodward Sports sent you.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show, live as always. And we got to tell you about our good friends over at Custom Health Centers. Ryan Armani has taken the step forward in his journey. He's down 20 pounds thanks to Dr. Jason and his awesome staff. I mean, look at him. Flannel, he's covering 3 screens. Now, if I were to put you up there, maybe you get a screen and a half.
Yeah.
So I want you to understand the weight disparity here. He's about 350 pounds in this picture. Maybe that's a bit much. Maybe I'm being a bit mean, but, regardless. Stick, you did the show with the guy yesterday.
He looks good, don't he?
He went from 7 chins to 2. I think that's a big step.
Lean and mean, baby.
And you know what? His belly roll,
Lean and mean.
his belly roll probably went from 5 to 3 or maybe even 2.5. I'm happy for the guy. Shout out to everybody at Custom Health Centers. They did a great job. Give them a call if you want to start your health journey today. 844-789-8446. We are back, as always, on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. Jeff, I swear, I thought we were just going to have a civil conversation about this. I did not expect you to be so worked up.
Yeah, no.
Nathaniel Hackett fired, rightfully so. They're 4-11, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
4-11. They blew the game against the Rams. Obviously, that has draft implications for the Lions. Vent.
I think it's a lot of different things. I think one of them is they're stealing. The Rams. They lost to the Rams. I was frustrated about that. The other reason is because I was a little high on the Broncos before the season. So I'm kind of, this is all my anger coming out about Nathaniel Hackett, because when he was first hired, although we were skeptical, because was it Matt LaFleur, was it Nathaniel Hackett? Those guys are OCs for Aaron Rodgers. Is he an OC, or is he more just a buddy who's basically a quarterback coach? And now you see it. I mean, he's not a head coach. He just isn't. And some guys just aren't made to be a head coach. But the other part of it is, why wait till now?
Can I defend Nathaniel Hackett?
Wait until now? The guy didn't even get a full season.
He didn't get a full year. You could have made a case after week 7. You could have booted his ass out of Denver.
Bro,
why do you hate this dude?
Okay, wait, time out. I am so confused. Look, I agree.
Just the nicest human on the planet. Why do you hate Nathaniel?
I don't know.
People.
I don't know.
All people.
You should have lost to the Rams, or beat the Rams, you son of a bitch.
Oh my God.
Go on.
Well, number one, I do agree with the firing. They've looked horrible.
So bad.
Arguments on the sideline. There's a lot of problems there. Having said that, the problem starts not with the head coach there in Denver. It starts with the quarterback. Russell Wilson is hot garbage, number one. I think I saw something on Twitter yesterday. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I am. Russell Wilson has more toilets in his house than touchdowns this year. Think about that. And we want to sit up here.
No, he had just as many. It's 12.
Just as many.
Just as many.
I
I'm
apologize.
Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you for the stat correction. So, we are talking about a quarterback who was brought in. The MVP. He was going to come in and light Denver up. Jerry Jeudy, the offense, everything was going to work. And, guys, look, take time out of your day. We can all laugh at Nathaniel Hackett. He didn't do the best job. He should have done better. Yes, sure, it's a very talented roster.
It is.
Having said that, though, that quarterback play was beyond pathetic. You can pull up any play you want. Russell Wilson is missing the one reads.
I know.
Not even two or progression or the checkdowns. He's missing the whole fucking play.
Yeah.
He's missing who he's supposed to go to. He has played like crap all year.
You know what the difference is, too? You watch him in Seattle, a lot of it's just like off
Ad-lib.
script. Yes, on the fly stuff. I mean, running out of the pocket, scrambling, throwing a deep
And he
ball.
looks fat.
In
and
Denver,
nobody's talking about it.
In Denver, he has to stay in the pocket and play quarterback, and it hasn't worked out. But, I got to watch what I say here because I'm not defending Russell Wilson. But you know how much coaching does matter. I mean, look how night and day Russell Wilson looked from Seattle with Pete Carroll to now one season. People just think with no injuries, Russell Wilson died. Coaching does matter. And I think Nathaniel Hackett's a salesman, but at the same time, Russell Wilson's playing like hot garbage this season. So we'll see. Sean Payton.
How old is Russell Wilson?
What is he, 34?
34 years old.
Yeah. Not too old.
How much weight has he put on in the last 3 seasons? Take a guess.
Oh, you have this number in your
Over
head?
25 pounds. He looks slow.
Of muscle.
Sure. You know, to be politically correct, he has gained 25 pounds of muscle.
Straight muscle, homie.
Not lard. Don't worry.
But I want to see what Russell looks like with
How do you fix that?
Sean Payton.
Sean Payton's not going there. If I'm Sean Payton and Denver call me, hey, Sean, we're interested in you potentially interviewing for this head coaching vacancy. If I'm Sean McVay, hey, do me a favor, lose my number. Fuck you, bye.
What
Boom.
job, if you're Sean Payton, because the Chargers job was the big one. It's not opening probably.
See, now you're talking my language.
If you're
buddy.
Sean Payton, are you going Las Vegas, potentially, if Josh
you're
McDaniels,
talking my language.
or Denver?
Now you're talking my language.
I can make a case.
When Denver hired Nathaniel Hackett, Lions Twitter erupted, Ben Johnson is leaving. Number one, no the hell he isn't. Number two, look at the quarterback situation. Russell Wilson looks like garbage.
Yeah.
I don't know many coaches that look at Denver and say, hey, no offensive line? Wide receivers that can't get separation? A quarterback that can't even make his first read? Yeah, Denver's a spot for me. Sean Payton's not going there. Ben Johnson's not going there. L.A. last night, that win saved Ben Johnson's future here in Detroit. Because had Brandon Staley not been able to make the playoffs again with that team and Justin Herbert, that vacancy would have been available. Sean Payton would have been in the running. Ben Johnson would have been in the running. Then you would have been concerned. So last night, they're chilling. There's not a single job out there. If I'm Ben Johnson, there's only one, and it's not available. Because they just hired Doug Peterson, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Right. That job, I jump on it if I'm an OC, not just Ben Johnson. But Doug Peterson's there. They're fine. They're going to move forward. They might win the division this year.
Yeah.
So the LA job, to me, the Chargers job, that was the one where I would be nervous and say, Ben Johnson's probably going to interview. If he crushes it, who knows? But lesson learned, Nathaniel Hackett is a good OC.
Right.
He will go back in the NFL, be an OC somewhere else, and he will have success. Just because you're a good OC or a DC does not mean you're a good head coach. Jim Schwartz, Josh McDaniels, Nathaniel Hackett. This happens every cycle.
Rod Marinelli.
I don't want to talk about that.
He's a good position coach. He's
Terrible.
not even a DC.
He was better off in the military than he was in the NFL.
Line coach. But back to Hackett. The guy got a raw deal, right? I mean, they brought him to Denver so they could bring Aaron Rodgers in. The minute Aaron Rodgers didn't go there, he was kind of just out on a limb. They mortgaged their future for Russell Wilson. Now the question is, who the hell wants that job?
Nobody.
There's no assets available for that team.
Surtain's contract coming up in a few years.
No draft
Javonte
picks.
Williams coming off an ACL injury.
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy has not been the receiver you thought he would be. Their receiving core really sucks, to be honest with you. It's a lot of young
Besides
talent.
KJ Hamler out of Pontiac and Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
I knew that was coming. Dolchich, the tight end, young, promising.
Decent, yeah.
But, man, by the time Denver even figure it out,
Right.
Russell Wilson will be out the door. And then what? Because you've missed out on 3 years of first-round picks.
Yeah.
So now what?
Denver's going to have to do one of two things. Either, one, hire a coach that's been recycled, that's been fired, that just wants a job. Because I agree with you. I don't think Sean Payton's going there. Guys that can dictate their own future aren't going to Denver.
If I'm Sean Payton, there's 2 jobs. Chargers were one of them. Dallas is the second one. Dallas loses in the wild card.
Okay.
McCarthy gets fired. Sean Payton goes there. That's happening. That's happening. You guys should know Jerry Jones by now.
Adam has an unnatural hate, too, for Mike McCarthy.
You know what? No, you haven't been around.
Hackett and McCarthy is amazing.
You have not been around all season. I did apologize to him early on in the year. I did apologize.
Call it what you will,
I
Stick,
gave
an
him a lot
apology.
more shit than I probably should have. I was very mean to him. Look, the
you
guy
went
wins
Ala
games.
Vila on him. Like, you were
I did.
attacking personally.
The fat fuck had it coming, all right? Let's not act like, I'm just throwing shade at people.
But the crazy part is they're 11-4, and he could be fired if they lose their first playoff game. Like,
expectations in Dallas.
Unreal expectations.
Well,
Unreal.
you know what? To be fair to him, I don't think he can solve their problems. I don't even think Sean Payton could. Their problem starts at quarterback. $40 million for a guy that cannot carry you. Dak Prescott is a glorified Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to acknowledge it.
If there's one head coach that I believe could connect with a quarterback like that, it'd have to be Sean Payton. Like,
Maybe.
Besides that,
maybe you're right.
I
hope yesterday's win over the Colts for the Chargers, they clinched the playoffs. I hope that relieves all of you of any pressure or, any built-up, any built-up pressure you have inside of you about Ben Johnson leaving. He's not.
No, I don't think so either. That's why I posed the question, because for Ben, I do think he's going to get interviewed. I just don't think he'll leave. I don't think he'll take any of the jobs. I think he'll wait another year and then get another
when you are a
year
young
as OC, and we'll see what happens.
What is the number one thing you have in your hands? Time and options.
Especially when you're good.
Especially when you're good and you're up and
OC.
coming, and he's not going to get any worse. I don't expect him to.
He wasn't on the odds sheet for that Denver job when it came out.
Nor should he.
He was
Nor
not.
should he be.
I thought they had John Elway on there, so I thought at least maybe.
I saw Shannon Sharp on there.
Shannon Sharp was on there.
But can we,
What are we doing?
I'm not going to defend Nathaniel Hackett. I'm really not.
I am.
But guys, come on. Russell Wilson, let's ride. him and his fucking stupid press conferences after the games, not taking accountability, throwing it on the team. The players are fighting with him on the sideline. Players yelling at him. The defense gives up 9 points. They still lose the game.
Cortland Sutton freaking out that he's not getting the pass.
KJ Hamler freaking out. Everyone was pissed
again,
off.
I'm not saying Hackett was very good or that he had a good command of the locker room or anything.
No, he was terrible.
But you guys even want to talk about coaches getting a second year? Every coach should get at least 2 years, right?
Yes.
That situation is unfixable because of Russell Wilson, not because of Nathaniel Hackett. I thought it was a cop-out. I really thought it was a cop-out. Whoever they bring in, enjoy being in last place next year.
I want Sam Flannel because I disagree. I think you can spread blame to both, but Nathaniel Hackett, don't tell me it's all Russell Wilson. What do you think, Sam?
Of course it's not all Russell Wilson. You don't just go from being a Hall of Fame quarterback in Seattle to one of the worst quarterbacks in the league in Denver in one season. I'm not saying that it's all Nathaniel Hackett's fault. I think there's a lot of blame to go around. But when you're the head coach, who's not just a head coach, an offensive head coach, sort of a quarterback guy, you're going to get blame if your quarterback, who was a Hall of Fame quarterback in Seattle, just completely craps the bed in Denver. He deserves to be the scapegoat. I'm not going to shed a single tear over Nathaniel Hackett. I don't have the sort of animus that Jeff Iafrate does, but I'm not going to shed a tear for Nathaniel Hackett. He deserved to get fired. He was terrible. He was awful.
Sam Flannel, like Neil says, I was told Nathaniel Hackett was a quarterback guru, that guy that could help either
when Aaron Rodgers vouches for
Russell
you, that
Wilson.
does mean something.
Yeah.
When Aaron Rodgers says, this guy helped revitalize my career after Mike McCarthy left, that means something. Again, I'm not saying Nathaniel Hackett is absolved from everything. But if I were to put it on a scale, 80% of it's going to be on Russell Wilson. Because it is inexcusable. I'm telling you, man, go watch Dan Orlovsky from earlier in the year. He called it before everybody. He was showing the film. Go watch the film, guys.
I'm not arguing the
Dude
film.
can't even make his reads. Russell Wilson is literally seeing ghosts. He literally lost his sense of pocket pressure, pocket awareness. He doesn't know when to step forward in the pocket, when to slide. His footwork is pathetic this year. Again, Nathaniel Hackett deserves all the shit he's getting. But to absolve the Hall of Fame quarterback,
which he is,
just a year prior,
yes,
who played at a very good level last year with the Seattle Seahawks before he got hurt, right?
Yeah,
that same quarterback showed up to Denver with more weapons, a better defense, a better surrounding,
but no Pete Carroll.
Oh, so coaching matters. Oh, gotcha. Just making sure.
Coaching does matter.
Just making sure.
But when you play that bad,
coach.
But when you play that bad, Jeff, 12 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, a career low in completion percentage, 3,000 passing yards in today's NFL.
Oh, it's ugly. It's ugly. Russell Wilson gets blame. I just don't.
Baker Mayfield is playing better than him.
How did Baker look in Cleveland?
Better than Russell
under
Wilson?
Stefanski.
Better than Wilson.
What did he look like since? I mean,
better than Wilson. It's all better than Wilson.
I'm just saying, coaching
doesn't take much.
Coaching matters.
Coaching matters, but we're talking about a Hall of Fame quarterback. We're not talking about Zach Wilson.
So why
right
does
now.
Aaron Rodgers need to be coached by him then? He's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Oh my goodness.
Who
what
needs
do you mean?
Nathaniel Hackett? Aaron Rodgers
is having a bad year.
Because he has no Devontae Adams. You know this. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, not having Devontae Adams is why Aaron Rodgers can't see the middle of the field and hit Adam Lazard open on the left.
I mean, when you're throwing to two rookies, it matters.
The rookies that are actually pretty damn good.
It took him 10 weeks to get good.
I wonder why, because the fucking guy didn't show up to camp and get chemistry with his receivers. But it's everybody else's fault, not Aaron's.
We'll
go to break.
I'm not defending Aaron. God, why am
I don't know what you're doing right now. When we get back,
Devontae Adams was important though. Don't sleep on that.
Yeah.
Come on, number one.
You know what?
receiver in football.
I want to switch this up a little bit. I want to get to Tua right now. So let's get to Tua.
Yeah.
He's in concussion protocol again. I believe the third time now this season. What do you do if you're the NFL? All of you. That's the question for every single one of you. Do you shut him? Do you force him to retire? I'll tell you why I think it's a good idea coming up in just a bit. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Big Boy.
Well, guys, wintertime in Detroit is here, and it's always better with comfort foods from Big Boy. You can try the classic meatloaf or Cajun chicken Alfredo, but how about the breakfast as well? The stuffed potato pancakes are officially back. The Lumberjack, Santa Fe Garden, or Blockbuster. Stop by your local Big Boy today.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Let me tell you about our friends at Chili Peppers Tanning, because it's where you'll find all the cleanest salons in the D with spotless, sanitized rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. Join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. Hottest bulbs, hottest deals, and darkest tans. Your Vitamin D headquarters, 27 locations, and more on the way.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show. This is a conversation I really am not sure how we're going to have it, but we need to. This is the third concussion this year for Tua Tagovailoa.
In a handful of weeks, by the way.
And if I'm the Miami Dolphins, I'm moving on number 1, and we're going to medically retire him. You have to. You have no choice. And I don't know how you guys feel about this, but if I'm the NFL, that's the last thing I need. In a game that's already violent, in a game that already has traumatic head injuries, a game that is only evolving in terms of the awareness of CTE, and now you're seeing youth football go to contactless, right? Flag football. Parents are now hesitant to let their kids play football. If I'm the NFL, I'm stepping in, and I'm at least shutting him down for the season. Number 1. And number 2, I don't think he should be playing in the NFL anymore. That's one too many. And now, look, him and his family can make that decision. You have millions and millions and millions of dollars on the line. I think if you're the NFL, you step in, you honor his contract, and you force him to retire. I don't see the benefit in him playing where he's maybe one more hit away from being done.
Yeah.
Every hit, he's a quarterback. He's going to get hit. He moves out of the pocket. He's going to fall. And you alluded to this, Stick. He falls awkwardly. He doesn't fall like a normal quarterback where he braces himself. It's always whiplash. So, for me, he's got to be done. I know this sucks to say, and if he wasn't a quarterback, this probably wouldn't get national attention, but
right.
I think the NFL has to step in here, or at least Miami. Somebody has to protect this guy from himself. We're talking about traumatic brain injuries in a course of, what, 7? 3 of them in 7, 8, 9 weeks?
Yep.
Guys, this is really bad. And he was noticeably worse after that happened, by the way. He was tearing up the Packers.
Yeah, he was.
And then he threw suddenly 2 interceptions, 3 interceptions, I believe.
Yeah, 3.
It's scary to me. And again, I think football is the best sport in America. I think it's the best sport in the world. I love the violence. I love it all. But that is not the look you want if you're the NFL. I think you have to retire him. Wrong?
Well,
or too early? I don't know. I'm asking you guys.
I'll say my thoughts, and I want Stick, because Stick brought up something during the break, and I want him to say it because it's a great point. For me personally, I think the season's over for Tua. I don't think there's a reason to play him, at least for the season. Retiring, that's something that they're going to have to discuss with Tua. Tua's going to have to discuss with his family. Like you said, a lot of money on the line, and that's a big thing for these guys. But on top of that, the disappointing thing for me is the Miami Dolphins went out and they signed Armstead from the New Orleans Saints. They got him a left tackle. They got him a tackle to protect him, and it didn't do anything. He still took 3 bad hits this year, so bad that now the NFL changed the rule. If you even flinch after being hit, and we saw Amon-Ra St. Brown do this early in the year, they take you out of the game. You're done. And the fact that Tua finished that game after the hit he took, and maybe he didn't speak up about it, maybe no one noticed, whatever the case may be, there was no reason why he should have finished that game. No reason. And Stick, you brought up something how he falls, because every time he falls, he seems to fall the exact same way.
Yeah, that was the one thing I took away, especially from the fall yesterday. Like, you just see him going down onto his side, and then he turns on his back, and that's when the back of his head hits the turf, and that's where all of his concussions have come from hitting the back of your head on the turf.
Which is the worst part.
That's the hardest part to protect. You get the neck whiplash. You get a lot of different elements with that. And it's strange to me because you watch a guy like Tom Brady and you watch some of these other quarterbacks who've played long careers, and it seems like they never take those types of hits. And when they fall on their shoulders, so there's no way your head's slamming to hit the ground. And if you're a great quarterback, you're falling on your left shoulder at all times because you're not messing up the right. And I'm not sure if he just never learned how to be tackled correctly or whatever, but it just seems like every time he gets tackled, he twists enough at the end to slam his head off the turf, and it's just... It's sad to see because he's talented as hell,
right,
man.
And you're watching, probably at Alabama, he never really got hit, to be honest with you. So maybe in the NFL now, it's a much more physical game, clearly. I mean, these are grown men.
Well, they're stronger and they can whip you around, right?
And like Neil says, these guys are getting paid too. So they're coming after Tua to do some damage. The thing I don't understand, and Sam, I'll let you get your point across. How did nobody notice this? Like he falls,
didn't get diagnosed.
He takes the hit. Nobody either saw the hit or saw any symptoms from Tua following the hit he took.
They saw it. It's just at this point, you're now messing with, I got to make the decision, am I ending this guy's season if we acknowledge this? Like,
well, you acknowledged it after the fact.
Because he had symptoms Monday. He had the symptoms the day after.
And again, look, let's not be ignorant. It has happened before, whereas players, they don't feel concussed, and they actually pass the concussion test.
Yeah.
But then they wake up the next day, and they're really messed up. This is normal. It happens. It's not that Miami's hiding it, Flannel. I'm not a fan of this, though. I think this is a big problem.
I mean, what's painfully obvious to me, and maybe painfully obvious is the wrong word, is that Tua Tagovailoa loves the game of football. If he can stand, if he can walk, he wants to be out on that field. And I didn't see anything after that hit that really gave me cause for pause. Obviously, I'm not on the coaching staff, I'm not on the medical team, but to me, it didn't look like a whole lot. I don't think you can force a guy to retire. I don't like the idea of a grown man who's playing pretty well to be forced to retire from the NFL. Whether playing in the NFL is advantageous for him long term or not, that's a different question. I just don't like forced. But Tua Tagovailoa, he's a guy who, I know that he loves football. He's obviously played pretty well this year when he's been healthy, but I just don't know if he's built for the game. He's a smaller guy. He's had a couple of concussions. He actually, remember, he had that dislocated hip at Alabama, that like Bo Jackson style injury.
That's where I was worried about the Lions drafting him.
Absolutely, because it basically forced Bo Jackson to retire from football. I know medical advances made it so that Tua Tagovailoa could play, and he's a quarterback. He doesn't get hit as often as Bo Jackson did, but that was a really, really bad injury that gave a lot of people cause for pause on him. I think it might end up being sort of a tragic tale of a guy who is talented, number 3 overall pick, loves the game, but just his body is just not built for it. Not everybody's is. It's the NFL.
In looking at other quarterbacks too, real quick, you're looking at either Kyler Murray or Jalen Hurts, guys that are about 6'1", and for Kyler Murray's case, probably like 5'11". These guys can evade, they can escape, they can move. Tua is a pocket passer who's undersized. He is smaller. So to your point, he's sitting in the pocket. He's getting hit, and he is left-handed. So a lot of it, he's getting hit from the back, or he's trying to evade. He's not athletic enough, like Kyler Murray, to escape and make plays with his legs. So he's a statue, and he's small. Yeah. So these hits he's taking are terrible, and with head injuries, how do you diagnose it? And how do you really know the extent of it? Because like you said, or like we kind of alluded to, he gets hit, but you don't notice till the day after, and Tua has concussion symptoms. So that's why head injuries, they're so bad, they're so unpredictable. You don't really know what to do or what's best for his future. You just don't know. I think the season should be over for Tua, in my opinion. I think you should call it. There's no reason to throw him back out there.
What do we think? Season over? On the playoff hunt?
Season over, career over.
Career over.
Possibly career, but...
I mean, how many more? Well, we're going to play here.
That's the thing. When does it end, right? Like, do we need to see the guy dead on the field?
The next one's coming.
It is.
The next one is coming. Yeah. He's prone to it. Just like there's injury-prone players, there are players that are more prone to concussions than others.
Well, right. And once you have a little bit of brain damage, it's a lot easier to get a lot of brain damage. Right. And that's what concussions are. They're brain damage. We call them concussions because it's like the medical term for it. But if you want to be real about it, he gets brain damage 3 times this year. And it happens constantly in the NFL. You talked about it, Adam. That's why you love the game, the violent. These guys are getting into car accidents. Literally. Yep. I mean, Jameson Williams runs 23 miles an hour. Right? Car goes 25 miles. Imagine getting hit by a 25-mile-an-hour car in your neighborhood. Yeah, 25 miles doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're doing it 15 times a game, it's amazing that these guys even survive one game.
And you should have hit last night. By the way, Derwin James, he got ejected for it.
Yes.
That's to your point. I mean, that's what we're dealing with.
That's a car crash.
Yeah, that's a car crash. I mean, Derwin James completely laid out. I think it was Dolan from the Colts. I think he was out of the game immediately. He was in concussion protocol.
I know we joked when Joik worked here, right? But Joik was a house, man. Imagine that guy running full speed at you. You're running full speed at him. And it just 2 things colliding like this. That's why football's so amazing to me. Every game I'm watching it like, man, if I was out there, my back would be broken after that hit. Seriously.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And I'm a big dude.
The problem in today's world is I'm sure a lot of you can point out players from the past who maybe had a lot more concussions and maybe they were swept under the rug. The problem is in today's world, you can't sweep it under the rug. We all see it. There's primetime games. There's highlights after the game. There's social media sharing those highlights after the game. Everybody is seeing it at a scale we've never seen before. Media consumption is at an all-time high. So yeah, maybe in 1984, a player would have 3 concussions in a game and nobody would know. Okay.
No, they'd know. They just say you
move on.
Leave. Yeah, you ain't tough. You're taking yourself out of the game.
Different standards at the time. Not saying it's right or wrong, but at the end of the day, you move on. The game's evolved, man.
Right.
You guys remember Junior Seau, one of the best linebackers we've ever seen.
So tragic.
You want to talk about tragedy?
Yeah.
That's brain damage, man. That's CTE. So how do we protect these players?
Vincent Jackson. I mean, that's another one.
How many more do you need? Honestly, I'm not saying don't play football, but when you have this amount of concussions, when does the player's health take priority over the game? And I don't know. I'm not the official.
As soon as the dollars stop coming in, that's when the NFL will really care.
I think the NFL has to step in and force him.
But for those people who don't know about Junior Seau, he had CTE horribly, and he killed himself by taking a shotgun and putting it to his chest so they could study his brain after he was dead. Like, that's the type of mental that these guys are in. It's wild to me.
All good, man.
It's a violent game.
Well, look, let's take a break. Top of the hour coming up. When we get back, Dan Campbell wants to get Jameson Williams more involved.
Woo-hoo!
I think the bus talk is a bit ridiculous, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah, you're a complete idiot if you think he's a bus.
We're going to have the conversation this morning. What the Lions need to do to get him more involved, how they can get him more involved, why he's more than just a one-trick pony, it seems, in this offense. A lot more coming up, but before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Swiss Insurance.
Well, with the holiday season here, Swiss Insurance wants to remind you to insure those gifts of jewelry or collectibles, because in the last 2 weeks alone, Swiss Insurance has saved its clients on an average of 26% on their insurance premiums while still increasing coverage. That's a ton of money to free up for New Year. Happy holidays from Swiss Insurance, and don't forget, go blue.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Warm up with some toasty treats. Way to go, Jeff. We're serving burgers, pierogies, homemade chili, chicken sandwiches, and mac and cheese bites.
Look up, Adam. You're getting
Plus
buried in the snow.
gluten-free. Yeah. Plus gluten-free.
You're drowning.
You're buried in the snow, buddy.
Plus gluten-free goodies, man. Oh, goodness me. Food favorites brought to you by the Monroe Street Midway. Can't wait to go down there again. It's a great time. I took my nephew, 2-3 weeks ago, I believe? It was good, man. Good food.
I bet.
Great arcade games. Nothing but a good time down
there. You didn't
there.
cuss at all the whole time?
We're not going to talk about that. So let's get the show back on track. Top of the hour, woodwardsports.com. We're back here on the Morning Woodward Show. Dan Campbell wants to get Jameson Williams more involved. And his answer yesterday was a bit odd. Anybody catch this? Is it me just kind of like reacting a bit odd to what he said? Verbatim. Somebody asked him, hey coach, you get Jameson Williams involved or what, buddy? Paraphrasing here. He said, you know what? Jameson, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we're going to get him more involved. You're right. We should get him more involved. There's something along those lines. Anybody see this? No? Really?
I saw the quote, but I didn't watch the actual presser. Is that how his
You
tone?
have to watch it.
Yeah.
You have to watch it. It's odd. I'm not saying, I don't want to make a bigger deal out of it than it is. He just answered a question, but it was odd. It was like, he was taking advice like, oh man, you know what? That's a good point. I think we should use Jameson. I'm not sure if he was being sarcastic or not. It kind of threw me off. But anyways, Jameson Williams was activated for a reason. Now, if he is hurt, that's one thing. And if he isn't, what the fuck? What are you waiting for? Jameson Williams isn't a guy you just send on a deep crossing pattern or a post or to the pylon. That's not what you do. You don't just send him on a go route. Jameson Williams, coming out of college, was the complete package. He could beat you deep, underneath, intermediate. He could do it all. He has the whole route tree on him.
Right.
He was the king of yards after the catch in college. So let's not make this guy out to be a speedster, a Deshaun Jackson, a guy that we just want to run on a go route and we'll beat a team once a game with him. No. He's more than that. The same way you get Amon-Ra St. Brown involved, whether it's out of the backfield, hiding behind a tight end, in motion, end arounds, screens, I don't care. The same should apply to Jameson Williams. That's why you drafted him. And again, Jared Goff alluded to this. I would like to think this is more of the reason why. Not that I agree with it, but Jared Goff said in Carolina, it felt like they were playing on cement. Now, for any of you that have ever had knee problems, running and cutting on cement is very difficult and very stressful on your knees. As someone that's had an ACL injury, playing on turf was much more difficult in the short-term recovery process than running on grass. So, for Jameson Williams not to play in Carolina, if that's the reason, okay, I can get behind that. I don't mind it at all. You're protecting him, that's fine. But this has got to stop. Either he's hurt, or you're going to get him more involved. I'm not saying he's got to get 7-8 targets a game. But the least you could do is give him a free, at least 2 or 3 freebies. An underneath play action route, a screen, an end around. Get him some touches. Let him feel like a football player again. Target him 3-4 times. That's it. And if he's really good and he's showing promise, give him the ball more. If he's open, throw him the ball. It's very simple to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Coach, you want to get Jameson Williams involved? Yeah. It's a great idea. Let's do it. I really don't know if he was being sarcastic or not, but yeah.
He was being sarcastic. It's just like when he was like, I didn't know what was going on. I was looking at the wave. Like, he plays that dumb role so well.
He does it with public interviews. He's never really done that in the pressers, though, especially midweek during the season. I usually see that in the preseason. You see it in camp.
Right.
You see it before the draft, sure. You see it on Pat McAfee show, sure. But again, I found it odd.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the answer, but again, I'm not too concerned with it. I think my big issue is J-Mo. We know what he is. We know what he was coming out of college. He was the best wide receiver in college football, the most explosive. We knew that. If he didn't get injured, he probably would have been the first one off the board. How I look at it and how it's played out so far this season, obviously had the ACL injury, took a while to come back. They eased him into the game plan, and they have a lot of momentum offensively. So, again, to throw J-Mo in there and allow him to have a significant role in this offense, I get it. You don't want to put him in and throw a bunch of things at him. But there's no excuse why you can't get him the football. Because with J-Mo, it's not just a go route. Like you said, he's not Deshaun Jackson. He's not a guy, he's not a decoy you can use on plays. He's a legitimate weapon. You saw that against Minnesota at home and what he can do when safeties aren't paying attention to him. For me, and what I expect moving forward is look at last year. Look at Amon-Ra St. Brown. Look how he played in the first half of the season. You had Anthony Lynn as the offensive coordinator, and look how he played in the second half. You would have never known what kind of player you had in Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now different. J-Mo was drafted in the first round. Amon-Ra was the fourth round. But you had to find out. And how you find out is you get them the football. They play a ball-dependent position. You need to get them the football to see what they can do. And with J-Mo, the fact that he hasn't gotten an opportunity, I'm going to allow the Carolina one to slide. But I do think this week, and this was before even Dan came out and said they want to get him more involved this week, there is no question he should be more involved. Would you rather see him over Josh Reynolds? Yes. Would you rather see him? I know DJ Chark's played well lately, and him and Goff have chemistry. And I think that's a big thing with J-Mo. Him and Goff never really had an opportunity to develop chemistry because even in training camp all season, he never practiced. I mean, he was at practice, and I'm sure Jared would throw him a couple footballs, playing catch, but he's not actually out there running routes. He's not actually out there practicing in pads. Now, lately he has been. So that chemistry between him and Goff is going to develop. So there's no excuse why he can't get involved this week. I just want to see him get the football. Wide receiver screens, quick slants, 10-yard out routes. Just find ways to get J-Mo because if he's in space and he has the football, he's dangerous. He really is.
I'm not seeing the issue here. I'm not. If he's not hurt, there's no excuse. I don't want to hear that he can't run routes or that he doesn't have chemistry. Shut up. He's a first-round pick. He's the most talented receiver to come out of that draft class. And had he not been injured, he would have been the first one off the board. Yes. So cut the shit. It wouldn't have been Drake London. It would have been Jameson Williams.
Right.
Okay? He's a very good wide receiver. A pretty damn near, I would say close to a complete route tree. He can really do almost everything and anything. If you want to ease him into the offense, I don't mind. I understand. But you got to get him involved eventually. If he's going to go into next year with one catch for one touchdown and for 41 yards.
Yeah, that's...
If that's your goal, it's going to be quite the offseason.
And Sam Flannel, I mentioned this yesterday, and I'm going to keep repeating and keep pounding this desk and repeating it. Don't tell me you can get Tom Kennedy and Khalif Raymond involved and not get Jameson Williams.
It's the Jameson Williams conversation is kind of complicated because we have to understand that he was injured coming into the year. He didn't get activated until the Jacksonville game, so that's a lot of practice that he missed out on, an offseason that he missed out on. But at the same time, in the 4 games that he's been activated, 1 catch for 41 yards, not that many targets. All you kind of see him doing is running those go routes. When we saw it at Alabama, he is a complete wide receiver. The reason why Lions fans, myself included, were exactly we're so excited when they drafted him is because we thought that he could be that Jalen Waddle type player, that Tyreek Hill type player. Like you saw what Jalen Waddle did in the last game, just caught that little pass, like 12-yard pass, took it to the house. What Tyreek Hill did in the playoff game last year against the Bills to take the lead for the first time, get like a 15-yard slant in, take it to the house. That's the type of stuff that Jameson Williams did at college. That's the type of stuff that he's capable of doing in the NFL, at least we think. We saw a flash on that 41-yard pass. That was a splash play. But I need to see more, because there is a little bit of concern that he's getting so few targets. And you want to talk about all the other wide receivers in the draft. I know it's not fair to do this right now, but Garrett Wilson, ballin'. Chris Olave, ballin'. Drake London, he hasn't had a great year per se, but who's his quarterback? Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder, he's contributing. Christian Watson has kind of grown up the last part of the season with Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback. He's really come on. And Jameson Williams, in 4 games, has 1 catch. Am I concerned about the long-term prospects of Jameson Williams? No, but the fact that they're not utilizing him at all this season when he has that much potential, it's alarming to me.
Yes, it is. And the big thing, and again, I'm going to repeat this, I get the rapport with Jared and J-Mo has to be built. But the fact that Amon-Ra St. Brown last year early in the season, I know it's different because he had training camp, but those small sample sizes you saw of Amon-Ra St. Brown stick, I want to see that with J-Mo. You don't have to throw the ball deep to him. Just get him the football somehow, some way.
My concern is we've gotten conflicting reports. An insider that we all know was texting us yesterday, hey, he may have tweaked his knee, and they're trying to protect him. But also yesterday we saw on Twitter that some dude was just tweeting out, well, they need to get Jameson involved more in the offense, and Jameson liked it on Twitter. I don't know if that's him kind of being standoffish and like trying to send a message to the coaching staff like, hey, get me involved without saying get me involved, but there were some Kevin Durant-esque Twitter activities going on and kind of sub-liking maybe to get the Lions' attention. And maybe that was part of Dan Campbell's sarcastic response, like, yeah, idiots, we understand.
No, you're probably right.
You guys are so soft in the chat right now. He's coming off a knee injury. Yeah, you fuckheads. It's been 11 months.
Yeah.
It's been more than enough time.
J-Mo's career is over.
What don't you guys understand? He's fine. And if he isn't fine, that's a problem. And they need to address it immediately and not waste any time.
Right.
So what is it? If he tweaked his knee,
just tell us.
Why is he practicing full practice? Why is he in contact?
Right.
Why?
And if they're not using him, though, what's the reason?
And if you're not...
Quit making us ask questions!
Yeah.
Nobody's asking questions, apparently. No one's doing their job. I don't know what to say this morning. I really don't, because, again, I think he's an exceptional talent. And I think, yes, when fully healthy, whatever that means nowadays, he would be a huge plus to this offense. And again, I like to think the weather impacted his ability in Carolina. I think playing on cement, the coaches were probably a bit cautious, but you can't coddle him forever. You can't coddle Jameson Williams forever. Eventually, he needs to go out there, and he needs to catch 4, 5, 6 passes. And he needs to get hit. And he needs to get his legs taken out from underneath him on a screen route or something. Something is going to happen. And he's going to have to get up and play football.
Yeah.
You can't coddle him forever.
Right. You could get injured. I mean, you wrestle.
Non-contact, contact injury. Right. If it happens, it happens. Shit happens, guys. It's the NFL. But don't sit there and tell me he's not ready when you activated him. And for 4 weeks, his snap count hasn't gone any higher. It's kind of ridiculous.
Right. And this isn't J-Mo. I mean, no one's complaining. This is more on...
If he's ready, he should be out there.
The coaching... Yeah, right. If he's ready, he's ready. I mean... You've had
whether the medical's holding him back, whether Coach Campbell, whether Ben Johnson, I don't know who.
And I'm not, and nobody's saying he should be playing, as many snaps as Amon-Ra St. Brown. You're not playing significant snaps, that's fine, but you can't get him 2 balls for 30 yards.
I'm saying that if he's healthy and he's your number 12 overall pick,
he should be on the field.
He should be on the field. Yeah. DJ Chark doesn't need these routes.
No.
Josh Reynolds,
Khalif Raymond don't need
it. None of them do. None of them need the touches. And your number 12 overall pick needs the touches. Get him out there. Let's have some fun.
And that's why I feel like a part of it is, and I don't know if it's a fear, this offense having all the momentum. Jared has rapport with all these receivers. Are they scared of, playing him over a Reynolds or a DJ Chark, who Jared's proven to have chemistry with all season, especially when you're in a playoff hunt? Is there any reason to be skeptical about that? Not saying J-Mo would hurt that, but you have Chark, who Jared's connected multiple deep passes to.
You
Reynolds,
think the Jets would like Breece Hall right now?
No, absolutely.
Okay. When we get back from break, we're going to talk about the Detroit Lions picking 7th overall, what it means for their draft strategy moving forward. All that and more coming up in just a bit. But before we go, I got to tell you about our good friends over at Planet Fitness. Sign up today, $10 a month. Your fitness is essential. What are you waiting for? Head to a local Planet Fitness near you or sign up today by visiting them at planetfitness.com.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Town Detroit is all decked out this holiday season. With the return of the Cadillac Lodge in the Monroe Street Midway, the Midway has a giant slide, winter bumper cars, and an indoor arcade. Plus, you can grab drinks and food before and after you play. Shop, eat, and play downtown all winter long, even throughout this treacherous weather at the Monroe Street Midway. We are back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. The Lions are now positioned, guys, to pick 7th currently in the upcoming NFL Draft. And that changes your strategy immensely. Right? Because at 4, you could buy into the idea potentially of Jalen Carter or one of the 2 quarterbacks that people love, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, being there. At 7, now what is it? Is it Kelly Ringo, a corner, which you do need at 7? Is it Miles Murphy? Is it anybody on the defensive side of the ball? What is the draft strategy? So we'll start with you, Flannel. You're Brad Holmes. You've got 2 picks in the first round. You're now sitting at 7. Is quarterback completely off the board?
Absolutely it is. I'm not touching a guy like Will Levis with a 30-foot pole. I think he's one of the most fraudulent first-round draft prospects ever. A guy that I'm looking at number 7, if he's available, which I think he would be, is Clemson defensive tackle Brian Bresee. Because obviously Jalen Carter will be gone by then, but as you saw against Carolina, the defensive line is a need. And Brian Bresee, he was a guy at Clemson, I would say he was a little bit of a disappointment, but he also wasn't healthy very often. But he was the number 1 recruit in the 2020 draft class. He's 6'5", 305, quick as can be. I was very impressed by a lot of his tape, and he has some of the most dominant high school tape you'll ever see. So with a guy like Brian Bresee, I think his ceiling in the NFL is just as high as a guy like Jalen Carter. The other pick, man, I want to say Joey Porter Jr., but I don't know if he'll be available. The secondary obviously has to be addressed, but I don't think being at 7 is quite as bleak if you have a guy like Brian Bresee who has just that out-of-this-world ceiling and has so much talent. Is Jalen Carter being off the board very disappointing? Absolutely. Am I pissed as hell at the Denver Broncos? Absolutely. But not all is lost, and Brad Holmes has an eye for talent. I think we'll be just fine.
Interesting.
I'm looking at the corners. That's where I'm at. And there's 2 corners I'm stuck between because my favorite corner to watch, especially, people Michigan fans know so well, is Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois, which he's been a monster all year. And you're not going to take him at 7. You know who will be there at 7, though, is Keely Ringo. I love Keely Ringo. And that's the go-to for me. Because it's different. And again, we'll see because Atlanta plays Arizona. And we're going to see how these picks all shape out. We'll see what the Rams do. But as of right now, at 7, I'm looking at corner. And if you feel like, and this is up to Brad Holmes, if you feel like Witherspoon, there's more value there and you can get him later in the draft, maybe you take him with the Lions pick. And maybe you go edge rusher, maybe you go Brian Bursey, or you go a Miles Murphy, whatever the case may be. But, man, right now, Adam, it's hard. You're sitting at 7. I don't know how you don't look at corners right now.
Let me ask you guys this, all right? You're picking at 7. Miles Murphy, Kelly Ringo, C.J. Stroud, all available. Who are you taking?
What was it? You said Ringo, Stroud, and who?
Ringo, Stroud, Miles Murphy.
Well, it's between, for me, it's Murphy or Ringo as of right now.
I like that answer.
I'm Ringo, baby.
Ringo.
Okay, you're a Ringo
The
guy,
Beatles,
Flannel?
I can already see the T-shirts. We got Ringo on the team. Let's go.
I'm going to go with Miles Murphy because, hey, Jeff, you actually brought up somebody that I had kind of blanked on. Devin Witherspoon.
Monster.
He is a beast. He's a guy that he might fall to the Lions' second pick. And I would probably, if I could get Miles Murphy or my guy Brian Brzee and then Devin Witherspoon, I think that's a pretty solid first round. I think those are two guys that can be impact players right away. I'm good with that. But if I had to choose between those three, definitely Miles Murphy.
We're looking at a mock draft right now, and with the Lions' second pick, they have Jared Verse, the edge out of Florida State.
Meh.
Oof.
Well, look, here's what I'm going to sell you guys. Let's say the Lions are going to pick at 7, and their next pick isn't until pick 18, correct?
Correct.
Do Philly need corners? No, they don't.
Nope.
Does Houston need? Nope. They already doubled down with Derek Stingley.
Mm-hmm.
Does Seattle? Nope. They got Tariq Woolen. Does Tennessee?
Yes.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Their secondary is so bad.
I don't know about
Their
that. They
secondary
need wide receivers.
Yeah, they need to replace A.J. Brown.
They got to figure that out first. New England, they're good at secondary. Jets, Sauce Gardner. The Steelers, I mean, their secondary is pretty solid. So I can see, again, I can see a scenario where not only Kelly Ringo, but Joey Porter do fall to you at 18.
Yeah,
that is likely, given today's draft order, what it is now.
This draft has Christian Gonzalez, cornerback, going to the Steelers, so another cornerback off the board. Yeah.
And just for the record, if Joey Porter Jr. is available to the Lions at their second pick, I would run to the podium, make it the quickest pick of all time, because I don't know if he's going to be available. I think he might be a better prospect than Kelly Ringo.
What's more
honestly.
of a need this offseason? Everybody can answer. Secondary or front 7?
Oh, you know that answer. That's a no-brainer.
I don't know the answer. That's why I'm asking.
No, it's secondary. It's not even...
Okay, whoa. That's an important answer. Stick? Forget the draft. Forget the draft right now. What's more important? A quality secondary
My
player.
logic's going off of they spent a lot of capital on the line last draft. They got to go secondary this draft.
Yeah.
Okay, but what's more of a need right now? Secondary or front 7?
I mean,
what's if you could add one player? No. Wait. You could add one key player, marquee player. Would it be a secondary player? Would it be a linebacker? Would it be an interior lineman?
Will Anderson. That's who I want to add.
Well, that's not feasible.
I know,
right?
but like that's
okay.
I'm going
Fair
lineman.
Enough.
Then
Fair
I'm
enough.
going line.
Okay, cool.
If I could add one player from this draft, I'm going line.
Perfect. Flannel?
God, that's tough because obviously they're both needs to some extent. I would probably go defensive line because I do like Kirby Joseph and Jerry Jacobs going forward.
That is very interesting, and I'm glad you guys said that because I'm with you, Stick, and Flannel. I think a Miles Murphy would be perfect. Now, whether that's feasible, I'm not sure. But at 7, oof. I also don't mind taking a corner.
I'm telling you.
And again, what does that come with? Expectations.
Yeah.
You better be the guy if I'm going to take you at 7, 6, wherever the hell it is. Now, my draft strategy, I'm definitely going on the line. But that second pick, for sure, is going to be a secondary player. And in free agency, I'm going to go out and get a veteran corner because Lord knows this team needs it.
Yeah, no question.
You saw Asante Samuel last night. That's a guy you got in the second round.
Yeah, and even the last couple games for the Lions, I mean, the front 7 split, except for Carolina. All right, we'll take Carolina out of it. They've played well. They played well against the Vikings. But what happened in the secondary? Kirk Cousins threw for over 400 yards. I mean, what are we doing here? It's clear you can get pressure. What are they? First in the NFL in pressure since week 9? Still one of the worst secondaries in the NFL. You need secondary help. And I think Sam just said it best. He said, I like Kirby Joseph, I like Jerry Jacobs. That's your problem. Those are your guys starting. Kirby Joseph, exception. I do like Kirby Joseph, but Jerry Jacobs is a starting corner. He just isn't. I'm sorry. He's good.
Maybe number 2.
Nobody
he's
in
not
the
number 2.
secondary is a starting corner in the NFL. Maybe Okudah at maybe.
That's the only one.
Maybe he's a 2. behind Sauce Gardner or a Jalen Ramsey.
And I like Jared Jacobs, but he's not.
But he ain't a one.
No, he's not your 1 or 2. I'm sorry, he just isn't. So you got to address that. Whether it's
cornerbacks does not fix our poor run
Witherspoon,
defense, nor does another defensive end, says Bob
Well,
Johnson.
and that's the
Cornerback
thing.
does not-
If you go defensive line, you are helping out your corners essentially. If I go corner,
But I could
I'm
say
not
the,
really
I could
helping
say
out
the
my
flip
defensive
side.
line.
We all watch New York, and I'm not saying Sauce Gardner's come out every year, okay? But the idea of having a number 1 corner is I don't have to worry about you. And I can compensate for my weaknesses by leaving you on an island. That's the idea of a Pat Surtain, of a J.C. Horn, of a Sauce Gardner, of a Jalen Ramsey. That's the idea of it. So yes, you could help your secondary by having a dominant front 7 that stops the run and puts pressure on the quarterback. Absolutely. Absolutely. But your secondary players right now couldn't cover my mother. So that's a whole different problem.
Wanda got game, man.
Damn right.
Wanda's got them feet.
Damn right. All right, look, here's what we're going to do.
Christina Gennari, the obvious choices behind me.
Here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a pause. When we get back, the playoff picture, what it looks like for Detroit. Very interesting conversation on the draft. We'll revisit now what needs to happen for Detroit. They have to win out, obviously. What scenarios are in their favor, aren't in their favor? What do you guys expect to happen over the next 2 games? That and so much more. But before we go, I got to tell you about my friends over at Cousins Maine Lobster. You see them on the screen. You see them on the screen now. Scan the QR code. What are you waiting for? Find out where their food truck is and treat your friends, family, co-workers to lunch.
I think they're in Romeo today.
They're in Romeo. I love it. I love it. Check them out. Go to cousinsmainelobster.com. You can have the main roll, the lobster tacos, and I say this every day because it is my favorite. The clam chowder soup. It's cold as shit, and there's nothing better than soup. So what are you waiting for? Go to cousinsmainlobster.com. We'll see you guys in just a bit.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
As chilly weather approaches, Big Boy's got the perfect comfort meals for you. Try our hearty classic meatloaf or our creamy Cajun chicken Alfredo. These will be sure to leave you craving for more. How about breakfast? Our stuffed potato pancakes are back with our lumberjack, blockbuster, and Santa Fe Garden. These potato pancakes will definitely fill you up. Whether it's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, come stock up on the perfect comfort meal today. We'll see you soon at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Let me tell you about the official meat supplier of the Woodward Sports Network. It used to be fish, but now carrying the 12-inch dong is my good friend Flannel Sam. Sausage, artisan breads, Wagyu meats, you name it.
Ooh.
Chef Dave has got it. Order online today at thebutcherysl.com or give them a call today at 248-682-COWS. That is 248-682-COWS. We're back here on the Morning Woodward Show.
That was that.
That's a cow. That's
never
a
heard
moo.
of cow, Jeff?
That was a dying cow.
Cows go moo.
You've never heard a cow moo.
That cow is being slaughtered.
Well, they don't
it's the
sound like that when
butchery.
they get slaughtered, man.
It's the
What's wrong with
butchery,
you?
man.
They do not sound like that when they get slaughtered. It is quick to the point. They don't say anything.
Just like that.
Like that. I know from experience, Jeff. Trust me. All right,
Man,
I'm just telling you.
these cows, man. These
My
are
dad
mad
used
cows.
to take me places. Anyways, the Lions no longer have control of their destiny, right? A winning Carolina would have put it in their hands. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But you win these 2 games, there is a strong possibility you do get in. I think you can expect Washington. I think you can expect Seattle. I think you can expect even the Giants to lose one more game. But this playoff picture to me is all about the Lions. They got to take care of business. Just like we said they had to take care of business against Carolina, they got to do it against first Chicago, and then you can worry about Lambeau. You got to figure out how you're going to stop Justin Fields from beating you on the ground. Not saying you're going to limit him, not saying you're going to stop him or shut him down, but can he not gash you for $170? Maybe only 90 yards, 100 yards even? Right? That's what you're aiming for. Not a big fourth quarter, 60, 70-yard touchdown run that he pulled off last time, and they only lost because they missed an extra point. This, to me, the playoff picture, guys, is all about Detroit.
Yeah.
If they don't win these two games, they're not getting in. It's that simple. So you start there. And even if they win the two games, there is no guarantee. And I have a good feeling somehow, some way the Giants are going to find a way to get in. And I actually have a gut feeling the Commanders fall out of it. I don't see them winning another game. They can't get it right at quarterback. They just can't. They can't get their run game going. So I'm not sure what to think of Washington this morning.
Yeah.
All I know is if you were to ask me head-to-head, who am I taking? Detroit or Washington? Detroit. Detroit or Seattle today? Detroit. Detroit or even the Giants? Detroit. But damn it, they lost the one game they couldn't afford to lose. And now it's out of their hands. So that's where we're at with the playoff picture. As much as I'd love to talk about the other teams and what needs to happen, that's all irrelevant. Because, guys, you're not getting in unless you win the next two, and that's a tough task.
And I think we put it best when we talked about, is it the 6-1 Lions or the 1-6? Because the reason why we feel so confident in the Detroit Lions is because we know their upside. When they're hitting on all cylinders, you watch that Jags game and what they can do. It's dominant football, offensively, defensively, special teams. If they're clicking on all three cylinders, they're a dangerous football team. They're one of the better NFC teams that we have currently in a bad NFC. What the Lions need to do, obviously, besides winning out, is getting back to what they do well. Running the football, dominating at the line of scrimmage, going back to being the team that has the most pressures in the NFL since Week 9, stopping the run, being a number one, they're not anymore because of the Carolina game, but going back to being one of the better teams in the NFL and stopping the run as of late, which they were before Carolina. Now they're dead last probably. They got to get back to doing what they do well, and if they can do that, they're still a team that I have faith in. If you could just get in, even if it's through the back door, if you get into the playoffs, and you're facing Minnesota, and you go to Minnesota, would anybody in this room not have confidence in the Detroit Lions because what they were able to do early in the year and the deficiencies that the Vikings have, how bad, we talk about a secondary, they're the worst secondary you can argue in the NFL. The Lions just need to get there and go back to doing what they do well. And I wouldn't lose faith. Even if they make the playoffs, I know what you saw was terrible, and that's the gamble with the Lions. You're either getting that Lions team on Saturday, or you're getting the Lions team you saw against the Giants, against the Jags, against the Packers, the Bears. You can keep going. The Jets. Hopefully you get that team. But the fact of the matter is they just got to get in, Stick. And if they get in, man, they're going to be a dangerous team.
That's always my argument. With any team in any sport, just get in the fight and you got a chance to win.
Yeah.
Not saying they have a good chance to win, but the crazy things happen. Any given Sunday, a fumble, a missed kick, a bobbled snap, an interception, untimely something. The Lions can upset anybody. We know that. We've seen that. I mean, they went toe-to-toe with the Bills. They lost, but they can go toe-to-toe with anybody. Well, we've also seen the other side of the coin. They can lose to anybody. So, but a week ago it was, who wants to play the Lions? They're the hottest team in the NFL. Now it's like, oh, God, no, they suck. No, it's neither of those things. Just get in the fight, and you got a puncher's chance.
How do you think the season shapes out for Seattle?
What do you think, Sam?
See,
that's the dark horse to me. That's the problem right there.
Hey, I mean,
they have a chance to win out.
The Lions losing that game gave Seattle, they're right back in it. They're home against the Jets with Mike White coming back, which is probably I'd say the Jets' best option at quarterback.
For sure.
And then they're home against the Rams. So those are two very winnable games for the Seahawks. And if they win, they're in. Another team that I worry about is the New York Giants. They're 8-6-1, and they play at home versus the Colts. I think that's probably a win, and they're in. The Commanders, home against the Browns, home against the Cowboys. I expect them to lose one of them. But unfortunately, with last week's loss, the Lions no longer control their destiny. They're going to need a lot of help. Obviously, right now, you just need to look ahead to this Bears game and take care of business. I expect the Lions to score at least 30 points. They have to score at least 30 points because the Bears' defense is that bad. And they also, I don't think they can stop Justin Fields on the ground. I think they can maybe limit him, but don't let him have those splash, 60-yard touchdowns, and also win the turnover battle. Justin Fields will throw some up for grabs. He's not a great passer of the football yet, and their weapons without Darnell Mooney and possibly Chase Claypool are pretty subpar. I mean, subpar is putting it very nicely. They're terrible. So the Lions, they have what they want in front of them, but they need help. And a couple of teams that could give them help by losing have pretty favorable schedules going forward.
The Seahawks play the Jets and the Rams.
Yep.
The Giants play the Colts, but then the Eagles, but the Eagles likely will be resting.
Giants might not need that game.
The Giants are getting in. And what I don't want to say concerns me, but it's the reality. There is a strong chance that Seattle wins the next two, and even if you win out, you're still out. That's a reality that you have to accept. Because all the Giants have to do is win one game, and they're automatically in.
Mm-hmm.
They're in.
And that's,
even if you win out.
And like you said early in the year, you don't really know the implications of some of these games early in the year, like beating Washington at the time. Now you see the value, or beating the Giants. But that Seattle game, like Adam said it best, force an effing punt. And if they were to do that, maybe things change, or Jared doesn't throw the pick six. But now these things are catching up to him. Well, I'm most concerned. I don't even care about the other teams. Can you win in Lambeau? That's my big fear. Because we talk about, well, Carolina, it was the coldest game in Carolina's history, or at the stadium, which even though Lions are a dome team, we assume that what they do offensively and defensively can travel. What about Lambeau? That's screw the playoffs. Can we just get to Lambeau and beat Green Bay? Because I am still, again, I always say this, and this is a term everyone uses in the NFL. It's not who you play, it's when you play them. And playing Green Bay with how they're playing right now at the end of the year, you're going to Lambeau Field with the playoffs on the line potentially. Whew. That's a game that I'm fearful of, and that's a game that I think should be moved to a primetime game. Because if it's for the playoffs, it's going to be a good one. I do think so.
Does Green Bay own the tiebreaker? Does anybody know off the top of their head over Seattle if they have the same record? Anybody?
Not off the top of my head.
Let me know, Flannel.
Okay.
Because that's also important. Because if Green Bay wins this week and the Lions win, and let's say they go in together the final game of the year, winner take all.
Right.
If the Lions win and Seattle wins out, they're out. But if Green Bay wins and Seattle wins out, does Green Bay get in? That would be my question. Who owns that tiebreaker? That, to me, is the $1 million question. That's going to be interesting. I think Washington falls off the map.
Yeah.
I don't see the Commanders winning any more games this year, even if their schedule is Cleveland and Dallas. Again, Dallas is going to fight for a playoff spot. They want to be a better seed at least. And then the Browns this week, the Browns are the Browns. They haven't really figured it out. Maybe next year you can put expectations on this team with Deshaun Watson, a full training camp, a full off season, full reps with his receivers. Maybe next year it is the year for the Browns. It's definitely not this year.
Right.
So we'll see. Let's take a break. When we get back, something happened last night. I alluded to it earlier on. It had implications for your offensive coordinator. It also has implications for the NFL. I'll tell you why later. Actually, not later. Coming up in just a second. But before we go, I got to tell you. Actually, no, I don't. Jeff does. Jeff has to tell you about our friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
Yes, because, guys, the Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, tell them, or even yourself, to head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Jeff Iafrate here. Let me tell you about our friends at Full Link Warehouse in Hamtramck, because it is the home of the original football bowling game. 2 to play for $12, the unlimited open play, or you can pay $120 for a lane reservation for up to 10 people. $2 Mr. Beer Machine, full bar. Check it all out. FullingWarehouse.com.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show, 9:40 live, woodwardsports.com. As always, make sure you go to woodwardsports.com for all of your latest articles, news, breaking news, your favorite reports, opinions on your favorite teams. All available at woodwardsports.com. So Brandon Staley has been probably the closest thing to Dan Campbell in terms of how aggressive he is on fourth down since he came into the league with Dan Campbell that same offseason, right? And they've been compared. And, you know what, 3-4 weeks ago, people were done with Brandon Staley. They felt like he wasn't getting the most out of Justin Herbert, and he was throwing away games, yada, yada, yada. And they've now strung along all these wins, and they've suddenly clinched the playoff spot. The second coach from that coaching cycle to clinch a playoff spot. First was Nick Sirianni, now Brandon Staley. And where I'm taking this morning really is, you're going to look back always. Whether it was the Matt Patricia hire, who was the key guy during that cycle? Mike Vrabel, right? In Dan Campbell's cycle, he's to be determined. He is hopefully a work in progress that'll pay off in dividends. Pay off so well. Don't know that yet, though. But in year 2, I would say he's inspired at least confidence going into next year, given they were able to win 6 to 7 games, and here we are talking about a potential playoff hunt.
Right.
But why it matters is, to me, and again, call me naive, whatever you want.
You're naive.
Thank you, Steve. I think last night was so important for the Lions, because if there was ever one job you could sell me where I would be concerned for Ben Johnson, who I think the world of. You guys know this. Jeff does as well. It was this job. And to see Brandon Staley now have success, finally clinch a playoff spot, for me, that's like a sigh of relief. Because now you don't really have much to worry about. What other jobs are going to be available? You guys, excuse me. You tell me. Arizona? Yeah. I wouldn't want to coach Kyler Murray.
Coming off an ACL injury, too?
Not only that.
It's tough.
Kid's got attitude problems. I need a leader. I need an adult in the room with me. Look at Russell Wilson. A veteran, an adult. Dude acted like a child all year. Any coach would have failed. Dan Campbell, if he took over that job, would have failed. Any coach would have. Why? The quarterback regressed, and there was nothing anybody could do about it. Horrible situation. Denver's going to be in a rebuild for the next 5 years. They're not getting out of this. They don't got first-round picks. They don't know what to do. It's going to take a lot to fix that team. So I'm not worried about Ben Johnson going there or Arizona. So what other jobs are going to become available? Well, let's reverse the question here. What jobs have a quarterback? What jobs have a young, promising offense? What jobs have a top pick? Houston, would you want to take that job? I wouldn't. No receivers, no offensive line, a good running back, but I'm going to draft Bryce Young number 1 overall, and then what? I have nothing to work with? Okay.
Well, they have
Carolina,
have assets.
Same situation. Maybe they get C.J. Stroud or Will Levis, who knows? The Colts, C.J. Stroud or Will Levis, who knows? Which job is going to be available where you're going to sit here and say, that's the job I can go there and find immediate success, or at least by year 2, have this quarterback or this young quarterback playing at a different level.
You know, the Raiders, is Josh McDaniels going to be one and done?
Vegas
Josh McDaniels is going to be there next year.
I think.
I don't know. You see, Josh Jacobs is like, dude, I've tried
Yeah,
everything.
well, they didn't
I
give him
want
a
the hell
fifth-year
out of
option,
here.
so.
I know, but he's like, I've given it all, and there's just no winning here. But that's a good job. That's the job I would take.
Yeah.
Because you got Denver, you got Vegas, you got Indy.
Arizona
potentially.
Is that the job you would take, though, if you're a head coach? You got to go up against Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert for the next 5-10 years?
I mean, listen.
I'm not saying it's you have to regardless if you really want to be successful in the NFL. But my point is, I'm not looking at the Vegas roster, especially that defense, and saying, oh, boy, I could walk in there and go toe-to-toe with Andy Reid and Brandon Staley at the moment.
Yeah, they have a semblance of an offense, though. You got a decent quarterback in Derek Carr.
An aging wide receiver.
But a talented wide receiver.
Very talented.
So at least you have some weapons. I mean, you go to the Colts. You got Jonathan Taylor in what was supposed to be a top 5 offensive line, but they couldn't protect anybody.
They just don't have a quarterback.
They don't have a quarterback, so that's not desirable. Denver, like you said, is just a train wreck of a situation. Yep. I can't think of any other place.
So for me, like the Ben Johnson talk is it's done with. Now anything can happen. You know, who knows?
Yeah.
Right. You're not in his mind. You don't know. But at the end of the day, if I'm a GM right now, you know, there's 3-4 calls I'm making this offseason if I can't get a Sean Payton.
Right.
I'm calling Mike Kafka. I'm calling Ben Johnson. I'm calling Brian Leftwich maybe. I'm calling...
is his name Steichen from the Eagles? They're all C?
Yes.
Yeah, I pronounced his name wrong, but
I know who you're talking about. Young guy.
Shane, yeah.
Yeah.
Calling Matt Patricia.
Sorry. Did you see that report, by the way? Bill O'Brien might be the OC.
Yeah.
Bill O'Brien. I mean, I think underappreciated. Dude. Multiple division titles with Houston.
Yes.
A playoff win.
Yes.
He, outside of the DeAndre Hopkins thing, that was the total blunder of his time.
Yes.
He shouldn't have been the GM.
Correct.
I still think he is a fucking good coach.
Dude, I bought in when Hard Knocks was on.
Oh, yeah?
Did you watch the Hard Knocks
I did not. I did not.
I fell in love with Bill O'Brien during Hard Knocks with the Texans.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it was a great season, but I mean, he's a good coach.
Why aren't you saying Bieniemy? Because, Todd, I'm racist. That's why.
No, because Bieniemy is the next Kansas City head coach.
I don't buy that. Look, you know what? I'm not a GM. Again, I don't have all the information.
I don't know.
But when you've been a running candidate for this long, either you don't interview well, or you're not as good as you may sound, or you may
have
look.
Your future already set up, and
or
you're just
the
waiting
Kansas
for
City
Andy
Chiefs
Reid.
have already told you, hey, Reid's leaving after the next year or the year after.
Right.
We want you to take over with Mahomes for his second half of his
I'd wait
career.
in line for the Kansas City
I would
Chiefs.
wait for that job, too.
Yes.
So we don't know. We don't. So, again, I don't know what to say there.
They've kept him around long enough to, I think, Stick's point. I mean,
we know where the league is going.
Right.
Let's not be naive here.
Byron Leftwich, somebody that I think eventually should get a chance to have a job.
I don't want to hear about Byron Leftwich getting a raw deal because he chose not to work with Trent Baalke. That was his job.
Right. And
he said, I don't want to work with Trent Baalke.
And that's fair.
They moved on. They went and got Doug Peterson, and they're about to win the division this year.
Right.
So I don't want to hear anything about Byron Leftwich.
No, I'm not saying that.
Or that he got slighted in any way.
I get both sides. I get Byron's point of view. Like I want to work with somebody I want to work with. But I also get, Trent Baalke's point of view. So
Bill O'Brien, overrated. Dude was stacked in Houston. Stick? That easy said that.
Well, then you know what's wrong. I mean, that's pretty easy.
I don't know how he was overrated.
Yeah,
dude, again, I think he gets a bad rep
with that team.
I think he gets a bad rep because of his GM skills, which were awful.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yes, he was a bad GM. I will give you that.
Traded Hopkins for second round pick?
Stupid.
Come on.
Stupid. That was stupid. But as a coach,
guys, think about this.
In Penn State, he turned around Penn State.
He took over a 2-14 football team. You guys want to talk to me about Dan Campbell and all these guys? Not just Dan, any coach in the NFL not having enough time. He took over a 2-14 football team. 9-7, 9-7, 9-7, a down year 4-12, and then 11-5, 10-6.
That's what he got Deshaun.
4 division titles. 4.
Yeah.
4 division titles.
That's a lot.
What? 4 division titles. He's overrated, bro. He's got more division titles in a 6-7 year span than you have had in the last 30 years, probably in the last 50 years.
You can't help people that just want to fit their narrative and don't look at the actual stats. You just can't.
Come on, man. Don't call him overrated.
No, he's a good coach. Yeah, I wouldn't say he's all-time great, but he's good.
He
He's a good
fucked
coach.
up. He traded D-Hop. Yes, we all acknowledge it. It was horrible.
Terrible as general manager.
Oh, now they're saying they should have had 2 rings with that roster.
Oh, please. Please. They were never going into a season as Super Bowl favorites. Never.
Remember, didn't Houston...
This dude won divisions with Matt Schwab, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Brian Hoyer, and Brock Osweiler as his quarterback. And then he got Deshaun Watson. Wow. And then it was 2 division titles after that. But he had won 2 divisions with Brock Osweiler and Brian Hoyer. And he's overrated. I know, guys. We're going to take a break. When we get back, I'll answer your questions. Jeff will too. Drop all of your questions in the chat. We'll return with Mailbag. But before we go, I got to tell you about where I get my haircut. And that's at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. No appointment necessary. They'll get your game ready. Check them out. Again, Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
All right. Let me tell you about my good friend Michael Phillips. All right. What are you waiting for, people? I don't know what the hell I'm waiting for. He's the best in the game, been in it for 23 years. It's a chaotic market, and there's nobody more qualified to help you than Michael Phillips. What are you waiting for? Give him a call, 313-403-0011. That is 313-403-0011. We are back here on the morning show, and it is time for me to address all the motherfucking idiots in the chat who said that division was trash. Well, let's start. He took over in 2014, and the 3 years prior to 2014, let's see, the Colts were 11-5, 11-5, 11-5 with Chuck Pagano and got to an AFC title game. And then it was the 10-6 Jacksonville Jaguars in 2017 that got to an AFC title game. So please explain to me, you dumb motherfucker, how that division was soft and weak when they had 2 teams in a 3-year span get to an AFC title game. And the Colts were running the division with Pagano, and it wasn't until he got there that they started losing. You tell me. I'm the fucking idiot. I guess I am. Division was trash. The Colts going 11-5 for 3 consecutive years, winning that division. Talented team. Andrew Luck at the time.
Andrew Luck was trash.
Andrew Luck was trash. Yep. Trash career.
Yeah.
Trash career.
Stop it.
Glad.
Oh, stop it.
I'm sarcasm, Flannel. Sarcasm.
I'm trolling
Jesus Christ.
Flannel.
No.
Sarcasm, buddy.
Flannel, trust me, I peeked up.
But at least I know your soft spot now. Speaking of, how's Anthony Davis holding up this season, Flannel Sam?
MVP candidate when he was playing.
When
he was playing. Yeah, that's the key to Anthony Davis's career.
What's the Anthony Davis take? I'm out of the loop.
Oh, he loves Anthony Davis.
How much so?
First ballot Hall of Famer, obviously.
I would buy that. That's fine.
They're going to put up street clothes for the first time ever in Canton.
Everybody makes the Hall of Fame. I mean, the NBA Hall of Fame to me means nothing, but Anthony Davis, very good player.
Yeah.
Very good player.
Listen, yeah.
No, I was trolling. Andrew Luck was a hell of a quarterback,
Yes.
but just disputing what Easy and his minions are saying in the chat right now at WoodwardSports.com.
He was a trash coach.
To say he's
I would
trash
die.
is...
I would fucking give up my own dick. I would fucking cut off my limbs for a trash coach like Bill O'Brien to give me 4 division titles in my fucking lifetime.
Saying he's trash is
hilarious.
Is dumb.
That is hilarious to me.
That's dumb.
I mean, listen.
I'm not saying he's great, but he's not trash. Like that's terrible.
Underappreciated, dude. These guys don't know shit.
It's like they almost don't watch football.
Unreal.
like
Unreal.
Trash?
Dude had a 5-year stretch where he was putting out good football, and they were actually ahead of their time offensively, and the Patriots were suffering.
For the Texans, bro. Like, imagine if the Lions went on that. If even, let's say, Cleveland went on a 4-division win stretch. You would
I
say
love
whoever
this.
coached
Easy.
that team.
Easy in the chat. I love this. Hey,
Easy in the
Caldwell
chat.
was 62-50. Bill O'Brien 52-48.
Oh, here's
Well,
Easy's response to me telling him he doesn't watch football. You sound like you don't watch football. Yeah, great response, Easy.
Caldwell, 4 division titles, playoff wins, overrated, and a trash coach. I would die for that.
Yeah.
So Jim Caldwell was a better coach than Bill O'Brien is what you're telling me.
He's saying that you'll call Jim Caldwell a bad coach, but you won't say the same thing about Jim O'Brien.
How can I? The guy won 4 divisions.
And that's the difference.
That's always
honestly,
been.
like, I'm a Caldwell guy, but they didn't win divisions.
Have I ever trashed Caldwell? Wait, hear me out. Let me finish. Have I ever trashed Caldwell for not being an adequate or a good coach? No. It was when you talk to me about accomplishments, right? If he's a very good coach, 0 division titles, 0 playoff wins. And I know there's circumstances, bad draft picks. I know there's a lot going on, and it's the Lions.
Right.
But this is the Texans.
I know.
And he found some way to win 4 division titles. The Bears won the division during that time. The Vikings won a division during that time.
Yeah.
The Packers had a few down years. Why didn't the Lions pounce? Because they never do. And they never did under Caldwell, Schwartz. It didn't matter who.
Yeah.
So this is not a knock against Caldwell. I still think he was a good coach.
My
but he was never.
He's the best head coach the Lions have ever had, and the qualifier is the Lions.
The NFC North was too good for that to be the scenario. Yes, you're correct, Easy. The NFC North was so good that Mitchell fucking Trubisky won the division with a 12-4 record. You're correct, Easy. I stand corrected. I apologize. I apologize for everything I say. I do.
Oh man, we got to block Easy from the chat.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
overrated with 4 division titles.
Well, he said
we haven't won the NFC North once.
Yeah.
I don't
Overrated.
know. I don't
Trash
know what
coach.
to tell these kids, man. They don't.
And Bill O'Brien isn't an Andy Reid or any of these guys. But you cannot.
You can't call him
don't
trash.
know.
Him
I don't know.
and Jim Caldwell, to me, are both good coaches. That's how I feel.
Unreal.
Coaches.
Good coaches.
Unreal.
I'm not saying the guy's trash. I mean, come on.
Oh God. Oh God. Bill O'Brien won the division with 9 wins. That is correct. He also won it.
Still
by the
winning
way.
the division.
He also won it by winning 11 games. Does that not count for anything?
No.
It doesn't fit the narrative, so
It
that's
doesn't
not
fit
going
the
to be brought
narrative,
up.
right?
Right.
Because he won the division when they
1
were
of 4 was
10
with
and 6.
them.
Wait. His first 2 division titles were 10 and 6 and 11 and 5. Is that not qualified enough?
How the hell did we turn into the Bill O'Brien
I have no.
show
I can't
right
believe
now?
I'm defending Bill fucking O'Brien this morning. Out of all the coaches, I could care less about.
I'm gonna shoot myself.
2 division titles at 10 and 6 and 11 and 5, but those don't count.
No.
Right?
And if he's not trash, but he's not good, then what is he?
He was mid as F, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take mid for I mean, I don't know.
Oh my
If
God,
mid
I
is
love
4
you guys.
division
Thank you for
titles-
making my morning. Honestly, I enjoy this stuff. I really do.
I hope the Lions get a mid coach someday.
You sound like a moron defending Bill O'Brien. You're defending a dude that's never won a division title, and you're downplaying some other coaches' 4 division titles because 2 of them he did win when they were 9 and 7, but you don't acknowledge the 11 and 5 or the 10 and 6 year. I got it. It's all good. It's all good. Take away 3 of his division titles. He still has more than you have in the last 30 fucking years. Jesus Christ.
And he has a playoff win.
Matt Nagy won a division.
With Mitch Trubisky.
Mike Zimmer won a division.
Ugh. Yeah.
God. I don't get it. Anyways, the point was, Stick, I was telling you Bill O'Brien might be in the running as an offensive coordinator for the Patriots. I think it's a good move.
That's the best part. We aren't even talking about him as a head coach. We're just talking about him as an OC.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Oh, my God.
Yeah, good morning, Adam.
Aren't we supposed to do mailbag? I'm supposed to answer your guys'
No, this is way better.
You can't when Easy's the only one commenting.
You're giving way too much credit to winning a division. Laughed my ass off. Yeah.
It's pretty significant.
That's because we don't know what it feels like.
Let's see. Caldwell had a better record than Bill O'Brien. That is correct, Easy. He had more wins and fewer losses, I believe, than Bill O'Brien. That is correct.
Yep.
And Bill O'Brien had more playoff wins and more division titles than Caldwell did when he was with the Lions. That is also a fact that you refuse to acknowledge. Anyways, we're going to continue. Let's answer some questions. Did the Vikings win a division with Christian Ponder? No, I think it was Teddy Bridgewater.
Was it Bridgewater?
Was it Bridgewater or Ponder? I'm pretty sure it was Bridgewater.
I don't remember Ponder ever winning a damn thing.
I don't either. I just remembered he had a bomb wife.
Yeah, all right.
That's all I remember about
I'm going to look
Ponder.
that up. I don't care if he win or lost. I'm going to look up his wife.
I believe it was Bridgewater.
Oh, God. Someone will win the NFC South this year. This is great. That doesn't make them a good team. Yeah, dipshit, because they have a losing record.
Well, the NFC South is historically probably the worst division ever.
Oh, my God. This is hilarious.
In the history of the NFL. I like that.
Easy, I'm getting worked up because you're a fucking retard, actually. And I don't care. It is insane to me. That is insane. I'm trying to help you. You're telling me things that I can accept. He has more wins. He has a better record, Jim Caldwell being, than Bill O'Brien. That is correct. But you not acknowledging that he's got 4 division titles is beyond me.
That's good.
And then discrediting 2 of them because they were at 9 wins. Take those 2 away, buddy. He still has 2 more at 11 wins and 10 wins. Is that not good enough?
No.
But when the Packers win the division at 10-6, nobody cares. Or when they win at 11-5, oh, it's okay. You guys remember the year Aaron Rodgers got hurt and they won the division, I think, with 9 wins? Well, we don't talk about that. Mike McCarthy.
I believe they were 8-7-1 actually and won a division.
Thank you. Unreal.
I'll take any division.
Unreal.
If the Lions win 3 games and win the division, I'm happy.
Oh, God.
I don't care.
You know what?
I'm with
Simo in the chat speaks my language. I missed the R word. Me too. I had to pull it out. Fuck it. I wish we could bring that word back. I don't care.
No, we don't.
It's a great word.
We got to end this.
Some people deserve to be called it. Having said that,
ISO cam for Adham.
Having said that, I don't give a fuck. You can record it. You can suck it. You can play it on loop. I don't care.
want to be on the screen while you're saying it.
We're out of here. Appreciate all of you. I hope you enjoyed the show. As always, Flannel Stick, thank you so much for filling in this week. Unfortunately, we get Fish back tomorrow, so that's a whole different problem. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Check out Big D Energy coming up at 11 o'clock. Neil Rule returns. Ermani and Edwards at 2 o'clock. And, of course, the heavyweights at 5 o'clock. You can't miss them. Check them all out. We'll see you tomorrow. For now, I'm out of breath. Goodbye.
The draft experience was shitty.
My high school dating experience was shitty.
I can tell you all 16 receivers and where they went to college.
I can tell you every girl that put me in the friend zone, every girl that shot me down, what grade it was, and what she said to me. Sarah Williams, freshman year at a house party, says, quote, I want to be single. Got a boyfriend the next day. Beth Samuel, junior year, I got benched during a football game. Afterwards, she came up to me and said, I want to date a starter. Kelsey McFarland, 10th grade, I took her to dinner, paid for dinner, and she told me I was the best guy friend
I've ever had.
Rachel Fletcher, took her to a party with my friend. She said, I like you,
but I like your friend better.
That was in 12th grade. Emily Westfall, senior year, I asked her to go to prom with me. She said, quote, sorry, I already have a date. She didn't even go to prom. Tanya Allen, Heather Talbert, Lindsay Turner, Leslie Frazier. It's okay, though, because now, here I am, working at Woodward Sports. They all got fat after high school, and the only thing I want back are my hoodies.